Good afternoon. People across the UK have been paying their respects to those who've lost their lives during war. At the Cenotaph in London, King Charles led his first Remembrance Sunday ceremony since acceding to the throne. The service was followed by a march past of 10,000 veterans. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell reports.
A solemn ceremony of national remembrance in its familiar form amid the colours of autumn, but with one notable absence. At 11:01, the King, Charles III, took his place at the Cenotaph for the first time as Britain's monarch. For so many decades, the nation's remembrance had been led by his late mother, Queen Elizabeth. Now, she too is remembered for her service. At 11 o'clock, the national 2-minute silence. At the Cenotaph, the last post, sounded by Royal Marine buglers, marked the end of the 2-minute silence. The King laid his wreath in tribute to all those from the United Kingdom and the countries of the Commonwealth who lost their lives in the world wars and more recent conflicts. Wreaths were laid by political leaders headed by Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And then, after the Commonwealth representatives and the military chiefs, it was the turn of the veterans, 10,000 men and women who served on many different battlefields. On parade today, 40 years after the Falklands War, 500 veterans of that conflict. So many with their own memories of comrades who never came home, remembered today with gratitude. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
The Chancellor has told the BBC that everyone will pay more tax and there will be spending cuts when he gives his autumn statement on Thursday. Jeremy Hunt said the most vulnerable would be protected, but difficult decisions had to be made. And he said in future there would be constraints on the government's support for people's energy bills. Our political correspondent Jonathan Blake reports.
He's been warning us for weeks.
This government will therefore take whatever tough decisions are necessary. We are going to have to take some very difficult decisions. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be some very difficult choices.
And this morning, the Chancellor said in the starkest terms yet what his statement in a few days' time will mean for us all.
We are going to see everyone paying more tax. We're going to see spending cuts. But I think it's very important to say that we are a resilient country.
The Chancellor won't say yet what's coming, but changes to income tax, a squeeze on government spending and energy firms giving up more of their profits are all expected.
The principle I approach is that I'm not going to be hiding anything I do. I'm a Conservative Chancellor and I think I've been completely explicit that taxes are going to go up. And that's a very difficult thing for me to do because I came into politics to do the exact opposite. So I will be honest, I will be fair, and it will be a balanced approach that recognises that the economy is struggling at the moment, businesses are struggling, families are struggling, and we need to help people through a difficult time whilst putting in place the long-term plan that gets us through to the other side and allows our economy to take off, as I really believe it can.
Help with energy bills would continue, Mr Hunt said, but scaled back from previous plans.
One of the reasons for the instability that followed the mini-budget was that people were worried that we were exposing British public finances to the volatility of the international gas market. So there has to be some constraints to it. But yes, we will continue to support families.
Labour argues the Conservatives are largely to blame for the state of the economy and that a shift in long-term thinking's needed.
It's so important that we have a serious plan for growing our economy and improving living standards of ordinary people. That will give us the money to invest in public services. But just because you have to make difficult decisions doesn't mean you have to make the same decisions. And the decisions and the choices that Labour would be making would make our tax system fairer and would grow the economy so that we've got those money for those essential public services.
Some Conservatives worry raising taxes could make things worse. Whatever political case is made, big decisions with a big impact are looming. Jonathan Blake, BBC News.
The government has confirmed that almost 41,000 migrants have now crossed the Channel to the UK so far this year. There were more arrivals at Dover this morning, and the Ministry of Defence said 972 people made the crossing yesterday. A police officer with the Lancashire Force has been charged with attempted murder. It follows an incident at a hotel in Manchester when a woman was taken to hospital. James Riley, who's 27, has been remanded in custody to appear in court tomorrow. Now, in the United States, the Democrats have retained control of the Senate in the midterm elections after winning a pivotal race in the state of Nevada. President Biden said he was incredibly pleased by the results, which are a blow to Donald Trump's hopes of running again for the White House. Our North America editor, Sarah Smith, sent this.
After a nail-biting wait, Democrats can now celebrate a result they didn't dare hope for when voters went to the polls last week.
I am so grateful to all of you.
The Democratic incumbent in Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto, was considered to be one of the party's more vulnerable senators. But US networks are now projecting that she has defeated her Republican challenger Adam Laxalt, a Trump acolyte who repeats the big lie about the 2020 presidential election having been stolen. Chuck Schumer is the Democratic Senate leader.
This election is a victory and a vindication for Democrats, our agenda, and for America and for the American people.
Control of the House of Representatives remains to be decided as around 20 seats have not yet been declared. Whichever party wins, it looks set to have a very narrow majority.
But I'm predicting that, as I've said all along, it'd be perilously close. We can win it. Whether we're going to win it remains to be seen. Thank you.
This victory means that even if Republicans win the runoff election in Georgia that is scheduled for the 6th of December, Democrats will remain in control of the Senate as Vice President Kamala Harris casts a tie-breaking vote. Historically, the party in power in Washington usually loses a considerable number of seats in the midterm elections. The Democrats' performance this year is the best for any governing party for 20 years. Sarah Smith, BBC News, Washington.
Cricket now, and England have beaten Pakistan by 5 wickets to win the T20 World Cup. Ben Stokes hit the winning runs. He finished on 52 not out. Here's our sports correspondent, Joe Wilson.
Live.
And you can see more on all today's stories on the BBC News channel. Next news here on BBC One is at 5 to 6. Bye for now.